everyone, so today me and my team members will be explaining to you about the problems of inflation and unemployment that happen in Jordan. So without further ado, let's go!
Jordan, officially known as the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, is a small Arab country in the Middle East or Western Asia. It is situated at the crossroads of Asia, Africa, and Europe within the relevant region on the east bank of the Jordan River. Jordan is bordered by Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Syria, Israel, and the west bank of Palestine. And Amman is the national capital and largest city, as well as the economic, political, and cultural center. The Jordanian economy is one of the smallest economies in the region, and the country population suffers from a relatively high rate of unemployment and poverty. Besides, Jordan has experienced pretty high inflation and unemployment rate over the years. So, what is inflation and unemployment? Inflation is one of the macroeconomic problems that can be defined as a sustained increase in the general price level (GPL) in an economy, or an increase in the average cost for basic items as the cost of goods and services rise. Unemployment is also one of the macroeconomic problems that can be described as a term referring to individuals who are employable and passionately looking for a job but are unable to find a job for themselves.
Jordan had the population of 10 million people with over 5 millions of females and 4 millions of males. There are more females rather than males living in the country. The age that has the most population is between age 5 to 9 and 10 to 14 years old, with both population are more than 2 million people.
Next, we go to Jordan national income. As you can see this diagram, gross domestic product (GDP) show at constant market prices recorded a growth of 1.9% during 2018 compared to 2.1% during 2017. The reason for the GDP decreasing is economic growth has been strongly affected by the uncertainty prevailing in the region. Access to water become a major problem for Jordan as well as a point of conflict among states in the region as overuse of the Jordan River. In addition, there was the Syrian civil war, which caused the country's top 5 contributing sector to GDP also being affected. Meanwhile, at constant market prices on 2019 recorded a growth of 2.0% compared to 2018.
Do you know what is the main contributor of Jordan? Okay, now let me tell you what is the main contributor of Jordan. There are several of it. Firstly is government service such as education and healthcare, followed by finance, which is buying and selling products or assets, manufacturing like automotive companies and bakeries, tourism and hospitality such as travel and tour, and last but not least is transportation, which include public, personal or private transport. These are Jordan's top 5 contributors.
Then, I will be explaining a little bit about the national debt in Jordan, which is, as you can see here in this diagram, that national debt in Jordan has been increased by 10.52% in 2020 compared to the previous year. After that, the Jordan considered fiscal balance has been registered a surplus equal 1% of its nominal GDP in December 2018. Because of that, the Jordan nominal GDP has been reached to 11.5 USD in September 2020.
As the World Bank data diagram here, the highest rate of inflation in Jordan for the past 15 years is in 2008, which is 23.61%. The type of inflation that happens is cost-pull inflation that occurs when the cost of wages, raw material, and fuel keep rising in Jordan. As an example, the expense of basic food such as eggs, potatoes, and cucumbers doubled up from before, as potatoes have jumped to about 0.54 dinars a pound from 0.23 dinars. The expense of keeping up a fuel subsidy in cost constraint the government to eliminate practically every one of the funding, sending the cost to certain energies up 76% overnight. Higher food and fuel costs will pressure the buyer to bring down their optional costs, and inflation rate the increase because of higher production costs of certain products. At the time of the production cost change are occurring, demand for the item also rises in Jordan.
The policy of inflation that Jordan's government applied to cure its problem are: first is the regulatory policy, which promoters for supply-side economics matters inclined toward less government intercession in the unrestricted economy. Next, tax policy, in which the supply-side economists advocate for decreased marginal tax rate as well as lower income tax that will spur workers to choose to work more. And lastly is the monetary policy, which act of expanding or diminishing the quantity of dollars flowing through the economy at a given time.
As the world by data diagram here, the highest rate of unemployment in Jordan for the past 15 years is 16.85%, which is in the year of 2019. The youth employment is the major factor leading to the increase of unemployment in this country. That also includes the oversupply of labor force due to the mismatch between the education and the skill required by the labor market and high proportion of foreign labor. The type of unemployment that occurred in Jordan is the frictional unemployment because there are many fresh graduates looking for a job after they have finished their studies. Furthermore, these graduates might not have skills that high demand in job market, so they cannot find any jobs suitable for them. Other type of unemployment in Jordan is structural unemployment because there is an oversupply of labor force in a certain industry. As there are many young Jordanians have been educated in the field other than engineering, there is not great demand on the Jordan labor market, and that makes them unemployed because there are a lot of engineer jobs out of their fields.
Firstly, they started by improving the youth soft skills and transferable skills, which makes them have their own skills and abilities that can be transferred across various jobs and businesses. They also invest more effort in producing nearer relationship with industry to make apprenticeship that will manage the student the valuable business-related experience that industry requests of them and prospect of work in those organizations that they intern. In addition, Jordan's government also solved the excessive labor force in certain industry by implementing a large work job scope by introducing others positions that their youth has been learning for years in schools or universities.
Every country has faced the problems, including Jordan. Here, as we can see in this diagram, the information in the Jordan are still increased in February 2020. And many of people are predicted that COVID-19 are hit enough to the economic country. So, all the tourism industry are trying to stop, which is to prevent the virus to spread more. At the same time, the employment rates in Jordan has been increased, as we can see here, in January 2021. It is because of the COVID-19. Then, there also have a statement that say the employment rates are high among the university graduate than the older age group, because they are still new in job. Thus, some workers have been forced to take unpaid leave and their works have been postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic.
There are stimulus packages by the government to solve the problems from COVID-19 pandemic. The stimulus package is a package of economic measures by government imposed to stimulate the floundering economy. The aim of the stimulus package is to enhance and expand social protection on programs. Number 1, the government unveiled a series of COVID-19 stimulus program and relief initiatives with JD 448 million for resident and district business. Number 2, the agriculture credit institution credit cap will be increased by JD 30 million as a part of the reforms. Areas, taxes, refunds and property purchase composition will all be injected into the economy for a total JD 240 million. Next, the Prime Minister announced that the government has signed an agreement to acquire COVID-19 vaccines worth JD 70 million, reflecting the government's continual attempt to secure the largest possible quantity of safe vaccines. The Prime Minister also stated that the government will invest JD 10 million new program to employ young people in vaccine drives, noting that the government package contained Jadi 240 million in debt repayment to hospitals and pharmaceutical firms. Lastly, the government has initiated temporary recruitment program in the fields of tourism, agriculture and hygiene.
So, in conclusion, Jordan really can overcome all the economic problems. First, the country can manage to solve the unemployment problem among the people with the government. There are many programs, and one of the programs proposed to use a supply side policy to reduce unemployment in its own country. In terms of inflation, they are pointed towards improving the useful limits of an economy by cultivating what they see as a superior business environment by means of a liberation and tax breaks, which creates more work positions. Both unemployment and inflation could be led by Jordan with its own way to reduce the problem.
Bashofkum, shukran.